What did you make of the? Did you watch the PSG game? Did you watch it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fun game. Really fun.
We said, didn't we, expected goals on that because of the way they play, and they've both got a really good front three or four, haven't they? Those two teams.
Yeah, super talented, and they play to score goals instead
Mm-hmm.
of control games, which is a bit of a byproduct of the leagues they play in, but they're they both do the same thing. You can go into Germany, you can go into or France and play open football and have a go and really kill teams there. And so they're not going to change off that playing each other. So you get these wide open, crazy games. That finished 5-4 and it could have been eights. There were some crazy misses in there. Dembele had that really awful miss really early on. Like
Mm,
it could have been a crazy, crazy score.
yeah, I think that probably brings us nicely on to Liverpool. So let's talk a little bit of Liverpool. I do think when I watch Paris, I'd love to see Luis Enrique in the Premiership. Maybe with Liverpool, but certainly with one team. I think he'd be brilliant in the Premiership.
Yeah, he's a really great manager, and it's like open football. Um it's not pragmatic or anything like that. He just likes football for what it is, which is really nice. Seems like a really good fella. Um, yeah, he'd be a good addition to the Premier League. I'm not so sure that's in his cards. He feels like a European guy who
Yeah.
retires relatively soon type of fella.
The football at PSG does remind me of Klopp, the way those three forwards attack and the way the fullbacks get forwards as well. And they have that certain style. And the little the Georgian lad who plays on the left, I think I really liked him at Napoli, but he seems to have went up another level to me at PSG as well. He's playing really well at the moment. I think he's one of the best players in the world. Whenever I watch him, he does brilliant every game.
Yeah, really talented. Like he goes at you every time. You leave him alone, and he'll just have a go at you. And he beats you a lot. His finishing is really good. He's like
Yeah.
really great at that like far post, get it around the goalkeeper type finish. The first one he scored was so good, and just always has a bit of magic in him. But like he's not like Doku where it's like direct to a fault. Like he's not
Mhm.
going to like have a run at two guys and give the ball away and set it up the other end. He'll move it back if he needs to. Elise's a lot like that, where Elise will have a go at you one on one, but he's not silly enough to have a go at 2-on-1s very often. So he's
They've got
smart
they've
with
got
it too.
product, haven't they? They've got product them too.
Yes, yeah, they know how to finish. Elise's in a bit of form where everything he does goes in. It feels like a
Yeah,
lot of goals from some pretty ridiculous angles.
yeah, he's playing well, isn't he? We've got
Mm.
no Paul and no Ian this week. They text as we were going live, didn't they? So Paul, the weather over here at the moment, Kate, 22 degrees. It's glorious here. So they've probably sat in the beer garden. But Ian sent us a picture of football kits, didn't he? And said, I've been stuck at my Sunday league stuff. And
Yeah.
Paul, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Paul. He's probably seeing the sun or at a gaming convention or something.
On the beach a bit.
Yeah, on the beach. One thing I did think, so when I watched PSG the other night, and I thought about how Liverpool play on the slot and how PSG play, and how we've went a little bit more pragmatic this season. I mean, it's slow, it's 5 yard passes, and I did like the Palace game, the second goal when we hit with pace and hit with speed. I love that pass from Wirtz when he comes towards our box, when he turns and he plays a lovely ball into Jones forward, that weight pass, and I think he shows his quality. But I looked at some numbers, so tell me what you think of these. So I think watching Liverpool this season, we haven't been entertaining at all. So this is goals scored for the last 10 years. So going back to 2016, 78, 84, 89, 85, 68 goals. That was when we had that tricky 20 to 21 season when Van Dijk got injured and Matip and Gomez and Alisson
Henderson and
scored.
Fabinho playing center back.
Yeah. Alisson scored the last goals. That was one of the lowest seasons. The season after, 94 goals we scored, 75, 86, 86. Now, we've got 4 or 5 games left this season, haven't we? We're currently on 54 goals. So that's how many we've scored so far. And bear in mind, we've probably moved that forward 5 or 6 in the last 3 games, haven't we? The goal difference, looking back over the last 5 years, 20 to 21, that difficult season, it was plus 26. 21-22, 68. Then 28, then 45, then 45. This season, 13 as the goal difference. Are we lucky to be in that top 5, do you think, Kurt?
I don't know about lucky. I will say that the league is a little bit tighter as a whole now, and those other Liverpool teams were much better. And I know we've been slow, but the game in the Premier League has slowed down quite a bit, just in general as a whole. So we've not been like fantastic or anything, but I don't. Those numbers seem in place with where the league is today and where we are. So those make sense to me, at least in terms of like the goal difference. Like a lot of these teams, like we were talking about how many times, like 4 goals have been scored this year by a team and stuff like that. I think the league is just a lot tighter in that sense with the goal difference stuff. And I don't know, that feels right. I don't think we've been like a seventh or like, I don't think we've been playing like a 7th or 8th best team. I just think we're off the standard we're normally at is probably where it is.
Yeah, it is right, that, isn't it? A lot of games, it's just 1 goal under the coin flip of a game, aren't they? You know, it's 1-1, 2-1, 1-0. There's not many games that are 3 or 4-0, is there?
No, you don't get too many games that are super open and stuff, and it's a byproduct of how much more talented some of the lower end teams are, and probably how Arsenal have set themselves up. I'm not blaming Arsenal for it, but Arsenal have found a way to win games without taking risks, and Pep wins games without taking tons of risks. So there's a world where everybody kind of just follows suit because winning teams win games, and you kind of want to get on that train a little bit. So it's kind of moved in that general direction just a little bit, but
yeah, you know what I think on that as well? I think that's why a Paris Saint-Germain or a Bayern Munich have to win the Champions League over Arsenal, because what tends to happen is if you've got a successful team, everyone follows suit, don't they? They all copy the same style. So we probably need, Arsenal fans wouldn't like this, but we probably need a Paris Saint-Germain to win that competition. Or
for the good of the
Bayern.
sport.
What's that?
For the good of the sport.
Yeah, for the good of the game, we need Arsenal not to win that. And the same with the Premiership, although that is a little bit of a muchness, isn't it?
Yeah. Until everything goes through phases, and somebody's just going to have to come along in the Premier League and phase that type of play out somehow, and just find a way to beat it comfortably to a point where they change, because that happens with managers all the time, where they'll get beaten comfortably. I imagine it happened to us when we lost to PSG last year. It definitely happened to Slot. Slot thinks about it all the time, surely, because he speaks about it.
He goes on about
quite often. Yeah, just goes on about it. And I imagine there are games that shaped Arteta quite a bit. And I mean, that there's one specific one I point to quite often where they played Juventus and lost 2-0, and Juventus had like 10% of the ball for the game. Like stuff like that just affects a manager. And if somebody comes in and plays open, like an Enrique comes in and just plays open football with like a Chelsea and runs the league, that's probably what's needed to change some of the thinking around. Or maybe just Pep retires and somebody else comes into City and plays some open football with their resources and stuff, and then all of a sudden you're kind of chasing a 10-point gap all the time, something like that.
Yeah, I think I remember Brendan Rodgers, he's done that when he was near the back end. He went to a back 3, didn't he, and became defences and tried to shut up. Slot's done it a little bit as well. Maybe we need a big Ange at Tottenham to do better than what he done. He went too far the other way, didn't he? Where he was just all out attack, no defence whatsoever.
Yeah, there's zero pragmatism, and need a little bit in there somewhere.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to talk about, contracts. I feel like contracts have all of a sudden became a thing with Liverpool, where for years and years we just didn't talk about them. They just happened in the background. And I don't know whether what happened with Salah, holding out for the bigger deal, Van Dijk holding out for the bigger deal, Trent then going. Has that influenced the changing room? Because you've got Jones, again, his contract's up. And I didn't realise, but McAllister, he's got coming on 2 years left of his contract remaining. He's 27 years of age, McAllister. And he's came out and said there's been no talks, whereas Gravenberch, he signed a new deal. And we know Szoboszlai, he's had talks taking place. But we haven't had any talks with McAllister, according to the sources. Now, the other thing what I think about with that is he has dropped off this season massively compared to the first 2 seasons. What do you think might play out with that one?
I don't know. I think they might go another 6 months before they, like in the January of next year, and figure it out then. He reminds me a lot of what happened to Fabinho, where his legs just seem to have gone completely, like out of nowhere. And that's what it feels like to me. So I'd like to see another 6 months at least of him playing before making that decision. I'm not sure where that ends up going, but yeah, his form this year has been just bad.
Yeah, he looks like he needs a rest, doesn't he? He's not going to get it with the World Cup being in the summer unless Argentina got knocked out fairly early. But he looks like he needs a rest. But he's only 27 years of age.
Yeah, a lot of these guys just do so much running now that I think there's going to be like not an epidemic, but like players going and their primes coming to an end a little bit earlier. Not because they're bad, but a lot of these athletes aren't like athletic bodies. You know what I mean? McAllister doesn't have like if Rooney were playing, still like Rooney was always waiting for Rooney to like balloon up after he retired. So like surely he balloons up a little bit. Luke Shaw, who doesn't, I mean, all the injuries he's had, he doesn't have like a footballing body. Like, a lot of these guys don't necessarily have bodies for this, but play it. And I imagine their legs just kind of go a little bit earlier than some of these guys who are just genuine athletes, like a Gravenberch is or something.
And he stopped tackling this season, McAllister, a little bit as well, hasn't he? Because he used to be like a little terrier in midfield, but he seems to have stopped tackling as well. He seems to get air most games. I don't know how, because there's not that much contact nowadays, but he's always going down, isn't he? So yeah, that was McAllister. We'll see how that pans out. Other news for us on Liverpool, just looking at some of the headlines. So Slot's assistant, who was blocked when he first tried to come across because he couldn't get a work permit, believe it or not, he's now took extra coaching qualifications, and apparently he's got the green light to come across now. So we might have another assistant coming into the club. Hughes is still being linked to Al. Is it, what are they called? Al.
Well,
yeah. So he's still being linked to them, but again, he's not quashing the news. He's carrying on. And then we're reading today and we're listening today, and it looks like Steven Gerrard could be getting the Burnley job.
I don't know. I don't understand how he keeps getting jobs. I love Steven Gerrard, obviously, but has he had a successful stint anywhere? Rangers, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It feels a bit forced, but
yeah. Well, I think the only, to be fair, he had Rangers done really well. Villa never quite worked out. Can we judge him on his overseas? Probably not. I think this is a big chance, and where there's a bit of pressure is, Parker got them promoted, didn't he? So you'd have fancied Parker to get them back up again. So Gerrard, I think, has to, if he's going in there, he's probably got to. Well, he's got to get them back up.
Yeah, you got to bring them up. Yeah,
definitely.
Well, and they don't mess around in the Championship. Those managers get fired like every 30 seconds. It feels like you lose like 3 games in a row, and they're like panicking because it's so important. You got to get back up. So
yeah.
They don't wait around.
But listen, our next games, I think top 5's in the bag, so whether we need to discuss these or not, but we've got big game of the weekend, Man United, obviously. Then we've got Chelsea. Then we've got Aston Villa, Brentford and Sunderland. It's probably a really difficult run in what we've got, so it's good that we're in this position now. I think we need probably 1, maybe 2 more wins. I read today that if results go the way at the weekend, if we beat Man United and the teams around us lost, Champions League secure. So it looks like it'll go to the wire. I'm going to ask you about the lineup at the weekend, because I know one player we're probably at loggerheads on, aren't we, who we disagree with. Would you start Kirk as against Man United, or would you start Robinson?
I don't know. You can probably start either. I'm fine with either. I think Kirkhez would be able to deal with Mbomo's speed a little bit better than Robertson would. But it's also a big derby on the road. If you like that experience factor and stuff in there, you can probably do with whatever, I guess.
Well, what are you predicting, Kurt? What do you think? What score would you go for against Palace? I mean, against United. Sorry.
2-2.
Yeah, we do a predictor, a score predictor, and funny enough, I picked 2-2 as well. That's what I normally do Liverpool to win, but I went 2-2 on that.